Hello, dear professor. I'm Lorena Velásquez, and today I'm going to talk about the contrastive analysis hypothesis. This hypothesis is attributed to Robert Lara. The contrastive analysis perceived second language acquisition as a systematic field of study, emerging in the 1960s. Robert Lara's position emphasized that the earliest second language structures are those existing in first language with the same form, meaning, and distribution, making them available for positive transfer. The positive transfer is when the speakers of one language find it easier to learn related rather than unrelated second languages. For example, the word radio. It writes in the same way in Spanish and in English. On the other hand, the negative transfer, contrasting vocabulary, pronunciation, and syntaxis, create difficulties. Typically causes problems only early strategies. For example, the word actually. That tends to confuse learners because it doesn't mean the same in Spanish than in English. Thank you.
My name is Daniela Jiménez, and I'll continue with avoidance. Avoidance is when students use easier words to avoid using more difficult words or structures. This can happen for various reasons, such as fear of making mistakes. For example, a beginner English language learning might use the word stud when they don't know the word luggage, because stud is simpler and less likely to be misused. There are six main types of avoidance strategies, which are avoiding the topic. The student changes the topic to avoid discussing something difficult. Avoiding semantic words. The student replaces a difficult word or phrase with an easier one. Stopping mid-sentence. The students stop in the middle of the sentence because they don't know how to continue. Paraphrasing. Students express their ideas differently to avoid a difficult word or structure. Asking for help. The student asks a native speaker or classmate to understand or use a difficult word. Changing language. The student switches to the language they know better to avoid difficulty. Avoidance can prevent language progression if the students always avoid challenging areas. Identify avoidance provides teachers with a roadmap to diagnose problems and support learning where needed.
Hello, dear professor. I'm Soraya Villalta, and today I'm talk about the learning style. But what is learning style? Learning style refers to the preferred ways individual approach learning. That it is important to know that learning styles are complete and debate topic. Okay, and various models exist. Here are some common tips of learning styles: reading learning, solitary learning, social learning, logical mathematical learning, kinesthetic learning, verbal linguistic learning, and auditory learning. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what is the most important to me. Okay, when students are visual, students excel through imaging and graphic. They prefer to revise information in the form of concept maps, diagrams, and visual presentation. Okay, they use the color partner to remember details. Other example or other important for me is auditory learnings. These rely on sound. They prefer to listen to explanations, participating in the debates, or the use auditory resources such as recording or podcasts. They remember information more effectively when they listen to it rather than read it. Okay. Other important for me, no, is kines- kinesthetic. This style focusing moving on the hands, on experience. Kinesthetic learning excel when they can physical touch, feel, and experience information. They require physical activity and apply information to practical experience. Remember, please, it is important to note that most important have a combination of these styles, but often have undominated style, but understanding and adapting that style is educators can improve the effectivity of learning, making the experience more engaging and easy to learning for students. That is all. Thank you very much.
I am Silvia Guamán, and I am going to talk about the role of grammar in second language acquisition, the linguistic background. Chomsky, born in 1928, he is a prominent American linguistic philosopher and activist. His impact on the fields of linguistics and social criticism is significant. He is known for his influential theory of universal grammar, which suggests that humans possess an innate ability to acquire language. His groundbreaking work, Syntactic Structures in 1957, challenged the dominant behaviorist theories of language acquisition. In universal grammar is a theory proposed by Nahum Chomsky that holds that there is an innate set of grammatical rules shared by all human language. This theory suggests that human beings are born with a universal linguistic capacity that enables them to learn any language to which they are exposed. Chomsky argues that this language predisposition is genetically encoded in the human brain. In addition, universal grammar seeks to explain the speed and ease with which children acquire their native language, regardless of grammatical complexity of that language. The theory emphasizes the existence of underlying universal principles that guide the grammatical structure of all language, even though they might vary superficially. Universal grammar has significantly influenced linguistics research and understanding of language acquisition. One example is that the children don't need iterations to learn a language. Parents don't need to convince their children to speak. They just need to talk around the child, and that will help him produce language on his own. Language comes naturally. Thank you.
Hello, teacher. My name is Bernarda Pabon, and today I'm going to talk about error analysis. Error analysis is the first approach to the study of second language acquisition because it internally includes the creative capacity of the student to build language. Error cannot be avoided in the learning process. They are necessary and will always happen in this part of the process. Corder mentions 5 steps in a typical error analysis investigation. These steps are compilation of a sample of the student language, identification of errors, description and classification of errors, error explanation, and error evaluation correction. Now, the error is made due to lack of knowledge of the rules of the language, and the student cannot self-correct because he or she does not know the problem. On the other hand, the mistake is accidental. It can be correct and you know it is wrong. Well, in the analysis of errors in language teaching, we must be aware of the error is visible proof of what is being learned. On the other hand, the teacher will know how to choose the best strategy teaching to correct the student errors and thus achieve the objective in the process of teaching a second language.